is a cost, business is business. That's why it's, if you leave digital transformation to IT, I don't think it's going to succeed. Right? It has to be a collaborative effort with the organization. And that's what happens. If you just leave it there, then competing priorities. Sales will have a different priority, customer service will have different priority, marketing will have different priority. If you're expanding to different countries, they will have their own priorities. So digital transformation will come in as a priority. And then there's a wait and see trap. Just let them do it. And then there's also what do I do? How do I do it? And that's why we're here, to figure out what can we do. So we have to educate ourselves first so that we know the what and the how. And then this is why I talk about no balance between operational and customer-facing overhauls. We only do mostly operational. By the time that we're so optimal, we don't have customers. Okay? The other thing is that we just focus on customers, but we're not optimizing also on the operating costs, and we end up losing money. And some of the DACA or Silicon Valley companies actually go on growth first, and then you just figure out making money later. And Facebook has been the same, but at least they're making money now. If you look at Uber, they have so many users, they have so many partners, drivers and all, but they're still not making, they have revenue. Profitability, it's another matter. Twitter is the same thing. Only profitable in the last 3 years. Previous to that one, they were losing so much money. Because they didn't figure out yet, on the operation side, how you're going to make money. Lack of velocity, again, it's like, okay, just wait. Or you don't have the right people, then you don't have the right speed. Lack of continuity for long-running projects. People will go, get tired. For a really long digital transformation project, it should be shorter, smaller, incremental. And then, this is what we talked about on the phone business, right? Focusing on the wrong competitors. Motorola was focusing on what Nokia was doing. Nokia was doing focusing more on what Motorola was doing. They didn't see Apple. Pace of change. Digital transformation, the biggest issue is that it's just so fast. If you don't have the right people, you will again miss out. That's why they spend so much on engineers, they spend so much on developers also, because of the pace of change, how fast can it be. Now, how do we succeed then? All of those things, we have more. I'm too scared now, right? Why would I even do digital transformation? You tell me there's so much money, and then you tell me so many failures. Then you tell me like, okay, I was trying to do that, and that's why I failed. Okay, you've seen how I'm gonna fail. How are we gonna succeed? One is that you craft a digital strategy that transforms. It takes time. It doesn't happen like, I have a strategy. Bill Gates, if you have watched in Netflix, Bill Gates' Mind, I know what the series is. He spends a week, a year, by himself, in a cabin, far away, and just thinks of strategy. Thinks of what happens next. 1 week, right? We have to spend time crafting this strategy. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can start, but at least it's digital strategy that transforms. Key thing, transforms and digital. So combine the two. Again, we look at the 4 elements, right? The four things that we define digital strategy for. And then, when you create a strategy, who are we going to change? We're going to change our employees. We're going to change the experience of our customers. We're going to change the experience of our partners. So craft a digital transformation story, because you want to spread your vision. You want to spread your strategy. If you're just standing here like me and saying PowerPoint, after you show your PowerPoint to all of your employees, what happens? It stayed with the PowerPoint. They will forget, right? But if you told them the story, I can guarantee you will remember the stories I told you, some of it, most of it, but you will forget all of these things. Okay? True, right? If you tell a story of your digital transformation, then your people can relate. The partners. That's why people create brand stories, so that people can relate. You can tell it again and again and again, and they will understand what you mean. A story is so easy to understand. There's a hero, there's a villain, and there's a struggle, there's a success, there's some failures, and then you win. Or you die. Make sure the story is like you win, right? But still, story is something you have to do. And in that, there should be components as to what's a clear set of objectives that are tied to business outcomes. Again, people forget to do this. Clarity of leadership and accountability. Who leads the digital transformation and who's accountable for it? If you ask everyone to lead your digital transformation, what happens? No one will do it. Because they will think someone will do it. Right? Clear. You're in charge of this one, you're in charge of this one, or who wants to do this, you volunteer and then you're in charge of it. You don't have to assign, people will volunteer. If you have very clear vision, people will want to do it. And then incentivize your employees to grow. See, growth. When we talk about incentives, it's not about money, it's about growth. How can I grow as a person? Either individually, as a human being, or financially maybe, or standing in the organization, standing in society. How can they grow? And then account for changes in people's interactions. Who I talk to now might change when I do an ERP. In ERP before, I talk to other guys. Or before ERP, I talk to this guy. When I have ERP, I may be talking to finance now. I don't want to talk to finance guys. They will just take your money. They will not give you money. They will ask, oh, what can you save more? Okay, save more. Like, what? So, yeah. Now, in terms of organization, in culture, you should drive transformation through culture change. There has to be a change in the culture, because who makes the transformation happen? Who makes the transformation happen? People, right? So if you don't change your culture, you think it will happen? So you start with the people, have the right culture, and it will happen. That's why when I was in Microsoft, when I was hired, I asked them, what's your key when they interview you? What do they ask you? What do they think for? One, you still have the technical skills, the other one is behavior. Even if you have the right technical skills, even if you're so great, but if you are not a team player, you are not continually learning, your culture does not fit the organization. You have to be selective. Right now, it's so hard also. When you become selective, the more talent deficit you will have, right? But if you just bring in people that don't give you the right culture, or you don't do a transformation of your current people, what happens? They will drag you down. They will actually affect the culture in a negative way, in such a that they don't want. It just infects everyone else. It takes only one bad employee. So if you have like 10 really good employees, and then you have one bad employee, it's like the bad apple analogy, right? If you allow the one employee to be continually bad, what happens? The good people will say, hey, it can be bad also. I don't have to do all of these things. Then you start dropping off. So your good employees become less. So don't even entertain having a bad employee, but that's the key thing. It's so hard. It's easy to say, but it's so hard to do. That's why some companies in the US, it's so hard for them to really hire people, because you have the right qualification. Again, human transformation first, and then develop talent and skills throughout the organization. We don't only identify, okay, you, and you, you're the only one. Sometimes you just say, okay, that's the only thing you can do anything else. Hey, you don't know what's going to happen. Give them the opportunity and they will shine. Let them share the vision and they will make it happen. Do we do soft skills training as much as we do technical skills training? We do more technical skills training, right? But do we train them on communication skills? Do we train them on leadership skills? Do we train them on decision making? Do we train them on conflict and negotiation? You don't, right? Soft skills are more important because, again, we're talking to people. We have to work with people. And taking risks becomes a cultural norm. I know it's so hard to let people think, especially for Asians, we don't want to make mistakes. Right? But taking risks is basically not saying, just do anything you want. Align it with the vision, and you say, this is the vision, and I think this is how I can contribute to the vision and the strategy. Let me try to do it. Right? If I make a mistake, it's okay because it's aligned to them. And what did you learn from that mistake? Can we leverage that moving forward? Edison, before he invented the bulb, the story is, I don't know if it's true, he failed 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. If you failed once, maybe it's okay. For us, right? If you failed twice, he would have been like, people would laugh at you. If you fail 3 times, you lose your money. If you fail 4 times, your family will kick you out. Like, go away. You're not part of our family. And he failed 1,000 times before he got the right one. Correct. And his reasoning was that, for every failure that I made, I exactly know which things will not work. Now I know what I don't want to do anymore. So that's why I purposely started with, why did we fail? Why do DP projects fail? Because to know what failed, we don't have to repeat the 900 billion failure. Right? We just want to make sure we do it well. So, taking risk, it's so hard for us because we're not used to making that. And customer-centric approach. Again, look at your customers first. It's not about you. You're not the one buying your product. It's your customer, you're buying your product. It's just common business sense, right? But sometimes we lose track of it. I get calls. I get emails soliciting. Hey, I want to help you in your digital transformation. I want you to digitally transform, and we have a remote desktop service for you. It's like you don't even understand what I'm trying to do. You're just pushing for me your product. Don't let me think. Study first. What is it that we do? What are our pain points? And then come to me with transformational solutions that you have. When you do the digital transformation, you might have to create new teams. Right? For us, when we did our ABS with Interactive, we have to create a new company. A new company that was tightly tied, that was really tied to the other organizations within the company. We have access to directors, we have access to news reporters, we have access to all the other guys. So that we can do our job. And then foster collaboration. And I know technology guys would just like to do, just give me the specs, I will do it. And then I send it back to you. And it was the wrong thing. You did it really well. It was done really well. But it was the wrong one that you were doing. So we have to collaborate and adopt a startup mentality. And I think it's easier said than done. Because we encountered the coming startups, right? We look at new products, we look at products and services we can offer, and if it didn't work out, we adopt, we change. So we're risk takers. Entrepreneurs, it's easier. But imagine our employees are not entrepreneurs. They are employees. But they have to think that way. And then adopt agile execution approaches and mindsets. You can just do research on that. You have to look at talent potential also, not only credentials. Credentials tell you what they have done. Potential is what can they be. Most celebrities in the US started as waitresses. Right? And then their potential was discovered, they become famous. So that's just how we can look at it. There's no monopoly, even where you came from, it doesn't matter as long as you have the potential to be great. Everyone has a potential. Okay? Just maximizing what that potential is and figuring out what we can do. Everyone can contribute to what's good. Empowering people. This is so hard to do. Letting people make decisions, letting people take risks. So as leaders, we have to train them, be able to do it. And the last one is, when you look at the definition, be an agile organization. Not only adopt agile practices, but be agile yourself. Looking at doing things faster, being knowledgeable, taking risks, and take on minimum viable product. Start small, you pilot, you test, learn from it. It's a continuous learning process, and you don't have to do one big thing. IT projects before would be 1 year, 2 years, right? And then after 2 years, you will realize that, okay, we have to scrap our ERP. It's the wrong ERP. Or we have done so much customization on the ERP, it's not the same ERP anymore. And then when people were using it, they don't like it. So then you lost 2 years there. This is just showing a digital maturity of a company that's just starting level in terms of digital maturity, all the way to mature. So from a management standpoint, if you are early adopters or early in your digital maturity journey, the bosses or the management will be mandating certain things you need to do. Do this, do that, do this, do that. Most companies will be in this. When you're developing, you set expectations. Okay? So I just want this to happen, then you make it. When you are at the very mature level, I don't even have to tell you what to do. You will know exactly what to do. You'll even help me craft the vision. You'll help me craft the strategy. And then we just create an environment for you to execute your strategy and your vision. It's just more cultivating. For you to really go into a big company, you cannot make all the decisions yourself. You have to have really smart people. Really good people that you can trust. Okay? That's hard to do. Okay, I know I really scheduled this really bad in terms of managing time. I'm so bad at that one. So we'll skip that one. Who's the customer for DP? In terms of customer experiences, is the end users, customers, and partners. So end user, how do you different an end user from a customer? Give an example. If I buy a phone for my son, who's the customer? I'm the customer because I'm the one who bought it. The end user is my son. So look at it that way. Who are we going to transform? They actually have two opportunities to transform them. The end user's experience and the customer's experience. So that's why it's so hard to define who's the customer. And that's why I want to spend some time here defining when you're doing a transformation. You have to be very clear who is the customer. Who are you targeting? Is it the end user, the customer, or even your partners? Because when you do this, definitely partnerships are also important. Now, when you're doing most operational process improvements or data transformation, affects your employees. So they are your customers. If you think of them as customers, how would you treat them? You would treat them better, right? If you treat them as employees, it's different. But if you look at them as customers, oh, they are important. I have to do what's right for them. They just don't have to follow. I have to convince them. They have to be part of it. And then partners also. Now, when you look at the business model, it's everyone else. End users, customer, partners, employees, stakeholders, family members. And family members here, but definitely family members, especially when you're doing it, you have the stress and the pain of all of the things that, how can I make this happen? Then sometimes you forget you have family. You just come home, you eat, you wake up, go back to work, you have no weekends. Right? When I was younger, I was like that. My wife just told me, why do you get married then? If you're just going to be away. Right? And then I realized that that's not the best way to do it. It's either you find a new wife or you stay single. Okay, so top culture hacks, and these are things that we can do easily. Okay, hack is something that you can do now. Okay. If you already have a digital strategy that transforms, start with all your meetings should be in support of that strategy. If it is not in support of that strategy, it doesn't add value anymore, right? If you want to talk about something that's outside of the strategy, go out and go drinking. Go have a beer outside, but that's not a meeting. And then the other one we talked about taking risks, celebrate failure. But don't celebrate failure for failure's sake. Celebrate failure for those who are doing something in support of your strategy and your vision. In my case, when we did the streaming service, we just said, we want to offer this, we tried it, we invested, we failed the first time. Okay. We still got the job. Then we tried it again after 5 years, and we said, okay. And we said, okay, try it. See, we were not so scared to do and recommend it again the second time because we know that if we tried it, we will still have our jobs because we're still supporting what's the vision of the company. How do we serve? The vision of the company is to serve the Filipinos worldwide. That was as simple as that. So that year, vision was that do anything you want as long as you're serving Filipinos worldwide. So easy, right? Then you can ask for money. This is what I want to do. So that was easy in that case. Do a 48-hour decision rule. If a decision has to be made, do it within 48 hours. We're not trained to make decisions sometimes, right? Somebody else makes the decision for us. That's okay. And then sometimes when I was in Manila, I said, okay, let's go out for lunch. Yeah, let's go out for lunch. Where do you want to go? Up to you. Okay. I want to eat here. I don't want like that. They let you make the decision, and you make a decision saying, I don't want to do that. Because people are so scared to make a decision because they might fail. Or it might be a wrong decision. But at least try making a decision. That's why one of the things you can do is you can reward decisions. So, One thing you can do maybe is that if you make a correct decision, 2 points. If you make a bad decision, 1 point. No decision, -1. If your performance appraisal is based on that one, you'll have so many decision makers, right? But again, it's just more to get things going. The reason why you have the urgency, the lack of urgency, is that people are just not making decisions fast enough. Yes, no, yeah. Okay, at least you're saying, I'm making a decision, we're not going to do that, we're going to do that, or we're doing something else. Just make that decision. Meetings, if you can remove the furniture, this is coming from Scrum. Standing meetings are actually faster. I've been standing a long time and my feet is hurting now. I'm doing this for 4 days straight. And then walking through the airports, it's so hard to just walking. But you're doing standing meetings, it's very effective. 1 minute, 2 minutes, you just want to move away and go and the meeting, right? This one is difficult. Inviting hard questions. We don't want to be asked the difficult ones. And we'll say, okay, you have the strategy, how are we going to make money? Imagine your employees asking you, boss, how are we making money? How much money are we making? What's our profitability? You will never share, right? But public companies do. Now, you will not have, I'm not saying those are the kind of questions. It's more like they ask you about strategy, they ask you about, so what's in it for me? You don't know. And it's okay sometimes. We don't have all the answers. No one is perfect. And if you recognize that, and that's the reason why sometimes we don't invite questions, because we're scared not to have the answers. And we will look, incompetent in front of our employees. But you're not perfect. Actually, I would invite them hard questions. If I don't have the answers, I will ask them, so how do we think we can solve it? What do you think is the answer? Then they will start thinking. Then they will help you on the decision making. They'll help you on the strategy. But it's just so hard. So we're not asking for a change only from them, but also from us. Right? You can cancel status meetings. You can ask, okay, instead of having status meetings, just send it out. I just have to read it anyway. Just send it to everyone who needs to read it, review it, and then just ask questions. If you need to be, ask questions. Hack your meeting agendas. If you do need to have a meeting, if you're doing like always, first agenda is this, finance review, right? P&L review. Second one is marketing campaign review. The third one is HR concerns. The fourth one is IT status. So just move it around so that you do the finance, you do the HR first. Because some people, especially for large organizations, some people just come in to the meeting for the time that they needed to be there. Other than that one, they don't even listen. So there's no alignment. If people are just attending the meetings that they want to attend, there's no alignment that needs to happen. You can also do a 15-60 meeting rule. So what it means, who has back-to-back meetings? We like it so much, right? Back to back to back. We feel like we're so busy. We feel like we're so great. We're like, I'm doing so much. Actually, what happens, we're not doing much. We're doing, but effectivity is actually going down because from your one meeting, you go to the next meeting, you go to the next meeting, you forget about what's happened in the first meeting. Especially if you're context switching, you're meeting about something else today, now, and the next meeting is about something else, you forget already. You don't know what was the action item. So this is a cool hack because you can do something like 15 minutes before the meeting, you answer emails, update your status, especially for busy guys, right? Update your status and then do your meeting. After that one, spend another 15 minutes. One is summarize whatever the action items are from the meeting. If you need to follow up, set up the follow-ups on your calendar. And then you can answer email and then have status updates or you can prepare for the next meeting. This is what I see normally. People come to the meeting without preparing. And they're even late. How many times have that happened? It's normal, right? People come to the meeting and say, why are we meeting again? Right? I don't come to a meeting if I don't know what the agenda is. I just say I don't. If they have an agenda, say, okay, what are we talking about? Then it makes it useful. That's why we have meetings that last so long. First few minutes of the meeting is like, what's a good movie? Where are we going this weekend? Right? But you don't want to start off immediately. And that's just a waste of time, at least for you. If you value your time so much, that's something we can do. Now this is so easy, top technologies, and you already know about this, cloud computing, automation, artificial intelligence, smartphones and mobile apps. This has happened and it has impacted the way we do our business. We even conduct our lives, our day-to-day business, right? Imagine if I take your smartphone, it happens. That's the only thing I will take away from you, your smartphone. Will we be friends? Take away everything else, not my smartphone. Right? You feel so naked without your phone. I can take away your wallet, you'll still be okay. Right? High-speed networking, Internet of Things, data analytics, social media, blockchain. What I can tell you guys, if you're doing something on this side, you already have a lot of things going for you. It's natural. Okay? Now, from a smartphone standpoint, if you just let your employees use tools that allows them to do their jobs mobile, right? I know we use instant messaging to say, oh, where are you? Come here to my office. That's what we do, right? We don't even make decisions in that case. But, okay, this is the last slide. I know we're going over, and I know some of you guys are sleepy. I am sleepy as well. One is that first, please have a digital strategy. You don't need to, but then you're not doing digital transformation. If you're just doing automation, if that's your goal, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You just want to save on cost, that's fine. But if you really want to grow your company, create a strategy that grows your company and transforms your customers' experiences. Okay? If you're just like what happens now, just grow more organically, just maybe a little bit more, that's evolution. There's nothing wrong with that one. Okay? I'm not saying you have to do digital transformation, but if you want to do digital transformation, do it the right way. Okay? Create a strategy. And do a human transformation before technology. Even if you're not going to do a digital transformation, do a human transformation. It is going to help you grow so much as a business. We always say, this is funny always when I hear about, oh, our people are our best assets. Like, yeah? Can I ask your people? Do they feel like assets or do they feel like slaves? Right? But it's true. They're the ones who make it happen. You're also one of the employees. If you're working for your company, you're one of the employees. How are you treating yourself? Customer first. Again, look at the customer first. Don't start with technology. Don't start with anything else. Look at your customer. What can I offer? If you have existing customers now, so much better because you can actually, you know them better. You have current interactions with them. And just look at how can I make their experience with us better? How can I transform it? If it's just more like and this is the one thing we would like, we want to be partners, right? We don't want them to be customers, we want to be their partners. For that to happen, there's a transformation in your relationship. The way you take care of them, the way you service them, the way you handle their complaints, the way you handle their, whoever is talking to your customer, they have to deliver the same thing, not only with you. Be an agile organization. Have metrics and KPIs. It doesn't have to be very complicated because sometimes, do I have to have a data analytics or machine learning to have my KPIs? No, just tell me how many new subscribers do I have or how many new clients did I get. As simple as that. As long as you're measuring, that's okay. But if you're not telling me how much, or just defining, okay, how many new clients did we get? How many of it based on digital initiatives that we've done? It's so easy to do. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Now, if you want to break it down per country, per territory, per salesman, and you can do that as well, and you can have simple metrics first, and then you can optimize later. Are you guys doing development? You have to do DevOps, okay? Sometimes your customer is not ready to do DevOps, but at least you guys have to do DevOps. They have to be ready because this is how fast you can move your implementation. You can do several deployments a day. Facebook, again, this is somewhere I read from them, they do 700 deployments a day. 700 deployments a day. How often do we deploy? We're scared even to deploy because it might break, right? But if you do DevOps, I don't have to worry because I know it's repeatable. I know it has been tested. I know that it will work. Okay? And it's so easy also to do, but you have to have the right mindset. And it's cheaper now because there are tools that are available that you can just subscribe and then just go pay $5 a month. You have access to Azure DevOps. $5 a month for each developer. Imagine if we didn't have this one. We have to install our own servers and manage, but so much more expensive. Calendars. And I say calendars, I know when I schedule meeting, when you follow up, so we ask some of my partners. So, okay. So how do I follow up my people? One of the guys that we work with. Why would you need to follow up? If they're actually smart, you don't need to follow up. Yeah, but they're not yet mature enough, I have to follow up. And that's what they do. Put them in the calendar, say I'll follow them. Put them in your calendar, put them in their calendar. But if you don't use the calendar across all, this is how you can look at it. And this is a hack that I use. If it's not in my calendar, it's not going to happen. Even checking tire pressure for my car. Every month I have to check because when the weather changes, the pressure changes also. So I put it. So everything I do, if I need to schedule, I schedule it. If you have meetings with your associates, with your partners, it's so much easier with a calendar. It's a very simple thing to do, right? But do your employees also use calendars on their phones?
Yes.
Good. Others don't. Yes, there are other guys who are saying, no, the company doesn't allow us to do that. Can't even access email from our phones. Okay? That's your choice. Right? Collaboration and communications tools. Now we're able to do these things. I was able to tell that I'm going to be late, or they're arranging where I'm going to go. I haven't seen this. My first time seeing it. So, but we can do things remotely. We can do things like just this morning we were solving a problem for a client that had a production issue. There were guys from Microsoft. I was in the call. I was in the plane waiting in the call. But I was able to join that because there's the communication tools that we can use. We use GoToMeeting, we use WhatsApp. Sometimes it depends on the client. We use Skype, we use Teams, we use Slack. So my desktop has a lot of those tools available. Depends on the client. But at least internally we use something common. Again, mobile apps and tools. If you're doing DevOps, if you can do some of the DevOps things from your mobile, you can do it. Salesforce. This is something that for your salespeople, Dynamics 365, they can do all of the things that they can do from the phone. Problem with we deploy Salesforce and then the salespeople don't actually use it. They just want to run it in Excel. Oh, where's the update? Oh, I have it in Excel. Why do you even need to? Oh, I put it in Excel first and then I put it in Salesforce. I put it in Excel and then put it in Dynamics 365. Why? But just want to go straight because the habits. Remember, people don't want to change. You have to provide incentive for them. If the products or your practice is not working on things that are cloud ready, IoT definitely you cannot be without the cloud. Right? But if you're not cloud ready, at least cloud ready. But if possible, you can be cloud native. So much of it. Because it doesn't matter whether it's your cloud native and your client wants to deploy it on premise. Most likely they will have their own internal cloud. Because no one buys servers that only does one thing. You have virtualization anyway. So then, if you do that, then it's so much easier to just go. You can hit your client's platform wherever they want. Okay, and don't forget social media. I'm not saying take a picture down and say, hey, we're here with Eugene. Like, you can do that too. It's okay. But use social media in terms of building your community. What do you guys do? Share your thoughts, share ideas, share your knowledge. Then you become part of the community. You build that goodwill with your clients. They might not be your clients now, but eventually they'll figure out, oh, these guys know what they're talking about. Or these guys, at least they're thinking about it, or they're learning about it, or they're trying to share some of the things that they did. If you have corporate social responsibility initiatives, CSR, then share it on social media because that's something that maybe they can also help you in your initiatives there. Okay? Don't forget, social media is important. Regardless where our clients are. They might be CIOs, they might be CTOs, they might be CEOs. Even Trump tweets, right? When Trump tweets, the market in the US changes. Stock price goes up, stock price goes down, doesn't matter. When Elon Musk tweets, the stock price either goes up, the stock price either goes down. But that's the effect. Social media is so simple. Okay? Alright, so that's the end for today. I'm open to questions, hard questions. I don't have the answers. It's okay. I hope it was helpful for you.
Yes.
And at least we know what the definition of digital transformation is.
And what about case studies?
Case studies also, we know how big it is. Or if you want to share anything that you've learned, or how else can I maybe manage time better? Calendar, it says your overtime.
Having office at the Hyderabad, did you have any idea of having a setup at Coimbatore?
Depends. If we grow big, it's always a challenge for us. If you are your customers local or international?
Customers,
Mm-hmm.
and both the domestic and international customers are available.
But what's your split? Are you focusing more on international?
No, the Hyderabad office is your own office, branch office, or it is an
It's our offshore office.
it's an offshore. The reason I'm asking is, do you have any idea of having a setup at Coimbatore, like offshore center at Hyderabad? So do you have office at Coimbatore?
Eventually, when we have so many customers, they don't know how to transform customers yet so bad.
Yeah, the reason for coming to Coimbatore is for, like, you have given a very good presentation, that's good. Like, still, do you have any idea of having an office, maybe branch office or an offshore office? One more office at India, like Hyderabad you're having,
Maybe not India, but other countries.
other country.
What we're figuring out, and this is what you have to understand. We're targeting mostly international clients.
Okay,
So for us to be able to service international clients, we have to understand how they would think, what's their customer preferences, how can we serve them better. So the growth that we're looking at is both sides. We can grow on the customer facing side, because if you look at offshore, it's more like cost savings, right? It's really more of what's the experience for the customers. And if it's really good from them, then I can optimize and scale from there. So there's a good balance for it. And it really doesn't matter now where your offshore office is. If conditions are better, yeah, you have talent, you have the skills, you might be unique skills that might be provided. Either in Coimbatore or I was in Trivandrum yesterday. So for me, it's more the skills that are needed by the customers. I would look for first what are the customer needs, like what we're figuring out. Now it was, before a lot of companies would okay to go offshore. Now we're seeing a change, especially in the US market, wherein Trump was saying, I want to bring back most of the jobs here. And the case studies for some is really more effective to just do it locally sometimes. It might cost more, but they will be able to provide services faster.
is it a Hyderabad office? Okay, it's a good profit revenue making,
Yeah.
it's good now. Yeah. Okay, let's talk first.
Yeah, that's a lot. No, I mean, that's why you have companies there. But for them, it's really, again, I go back, what are they looking for? Why would they set up offices? It's looking for what do my customers need, and what do I have to provide. So it's typical sourcing. Where's the best rice? Where's the best chicken? I don't know, we don't want to be compared to rice and chicken, right? But what are the resources that I need to operate my business? And I go where it's best. Now, where's the talent? If I'm looking at IoT, where are the best IoT guys? If I'm looking for AI, where are the best AI guys? Because sometimes, that's why a lot of companies start in Silicon Valley. Because they just steal from everyone else there. There's so much talent already there. I just steal. And in the US, employment is at will. If I resign now, I say I quit now. It's not 3 months after, it's not like 1 year after, it's like 1 week after. It's like, I can quit now. It's so hard. That's why you have the talent deficit. If somebody quits now, they're gone. How do I replace it? How long does it take for me to replace it? It's not easy. So again, you go back. What is it the customer needs? And then based on that, then you organize and structure your business accordingly. Source it. Where do I buy the technology? Same thing. I was looking for, okay, I need to improve my security. Okay? So security of my network. This is circa 1990, right? So I think I'm looking for a firewall. Then I do an evaluation. What are the different firewalls? And based on my needs, this one is better, this one is better. I don't go for the cheapest one. I don't go for the most expensive one. I don't care if you're the cheapest one or the most expensive one, as long as it meets my target requirements, it fits my budget, and the returns I can measure. So again, it's just common business sense for what you're trying to do. You don't force the solution to the problem. Find the problem, where's the solution? Use them. Yes, sir.
Primarily, like when you basically take some work on digital transformation, there may be some disruptions in terms of applying something.
Yes, sir.
Over in and out. So primarily, you hit a road barrier that primarily because the customer may not be aware of and would not be willing to take some risk in terms of such disruptions.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you convince a customer in such cases where you are confident about the disruptive approach, but the customer is not willing to push across?
So this is my learning. I cannot digitally transform my customer.
Huh?
I cannot digitally transform my customer. I cannot drive their transformation. I can help them in their transformation. I can't go and say, I will digitally transform you. It's not going to happen. I can help you digitally transform. And for you to be successful, these are the things that I'm looking for. I've worked with projects that say, I want to create this, I want to do this. And then I ask, how do I measure success? No, just launch it. No, how do I measure success? How do I know that your investment is getting the returns for you? Because if you are not seeing these returns, you're answerable to your boss. Whether you're the CEO, you're the marketing head, you're the VP, you're still answerable to someone. How are you going to justify the funding that you're going to ask for if we don't know how to measure success? So the first thing really is that what's the business value? That's why we started. What's the business value that we're trying to do? Is the business value matching to the expenditures? Because if it's not going to be there, no matter how you do it.
No, my question was on how do you convince him when there is a disruption in the technology, which is maybe he is well used with something which is already existing, and you try to infuse something new which is totally going maybe is
similar.
Yeah.
The benefits. Again, you look at the benefits for them. Is it worth for you? Example, I say, if you use this technology, you will save $100 million. Okay? But you need to spend $1 million. Do you do it? It's not, right? So there should be an incentive for you to make the change. For you to convince the other person to make the change. If the change is only minor, and this is what I always say, look at the relativity of change. Okay? Not Einstein. We're not talking about theory of relativity. But the relativity of change is on how much effort am I going to spend on change that's recommended, and what is my return? Is it worth it? Is it worth it for the risk that I'm going to take? Because there's no 100% guarantee that you will be successful. Right? There's still a risk. There's no guarantee. It might work for some other company, but you don't know whether it's going to work for you. It might work for you for process improvements, but customer experience changes, it's always a risk. But you also calculate how much is the reward. If I'm going to invest $1 million here, but my return is $10 million, potential worst return is $2 million, maybe. But that's the difficult part. That's not easy. How do you quantify it? If you cannot quantify it, it's so hard to convince someone to change. Still not there?
no. I'll just give you a simple example. One of a customer was using a wired approach on some
Yes.
I mean, one of the industry for. But then to get him, just to convince to get him into the wireless mode
Mhm.
was too difficult.
Yes. Do you like change?
Of course,
Does your customer like change?
it's difficult.
That's the problem. Again, you're asking something it works for them. Now, is it a problem for them? Okay, people change if there's something really bad that happens to them. If it has worked for them, I will not make a change. But if you say now, because you have what, for your specific example, I'm giving you a perceived benefit when you go wireless. Right? How do you measure that success? How do you measure how much productivity do I get if I go wireless? Has that been computed and measured? Because unless it is measured, I tell you, you invest in this one now, your savings is going to be this, it's a no-brainer. But unless you go back and tell them, I know it's easier to go wireless. It's cheaper, I don't have to wire. Just an example, if the company is not going to add additional stations, I would not do it because I already wired my own people. But if you say, hey, you're growing, you're adding like 200 new nodes in your network, if you have to wire it, you're going to spend this much. But if you do wireless, it's only that much you spend. Having a change is more difficult than having them do a new capability. Is that more realistic? You have to look at it from their perspective. What's in it for me? How difficult is the change? You're asking me to spend, right? You're asking me to spend money now. Whatever I invested, that's thrown away. Thrown away. Obviously. So what is the return for me? You're asking me, that's good for you. You're the one telling me that the wireless thing. But what's in it for the business? Why would I spend that much? If you cannot justify it, it's not gonna happen. You as a business owner and somebody comes in to you and say, hey, you need to change your car. Right? You need a Tesla. Why? You will save on gas. I did the computation. It's like, I so much want to have a Tesla. But I don't want to spend $40,000 because what I will save on gas is not equivalent to how much I will spend more. Somebody came to me with solar. Hey, you do solar, you don't have to pay your electricity anymore in your house. So what are you paying now for your electricity? I said $150 a month. Oh, when you go solar, it will reduce your cost to $80. Oh, great. Yeah, but you have to pay for solar like $200 a month. So why not paying $280? Like, what's the point? Right? It's greater. Yeah, it's great. But it's not gonna save me. I'm better. Yeah, I'm more environmentally conscious. But does it make sense for me? Financially, it does not. I have electricity now. If you take out, I have no problem. Electricity, it's there. I'm okay. So again, business value that you're creating for your customer. What's the experience? Sometimes we look at it, I have a solution for you. Yeah, but is it relevant for the customer? That's what we have to look at. Because if it's relevant to the customer, it's an easy sell. If something happened to if already something happened to them, like cable. I know cables are up to a certain point. Or their switches. Example, if their switches are broken, okay? Your cable network, right? If their switches, they need to replace, then the cost to replace the switch would be easier to just go Wi-Fi. Then that's your entry point. Yes, sir.
Most of the case studies that you had for product companies, right? So, do you have any case studies for IT services companies which benefited from this transformation?
It's so hard for a service company because what they're providing is service.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why when you look, I'll give you an example for me when I was on the client side. This is my perspective, that's from the service side. I would actually rather work with smaller companies than bigger companies. You know why? Because in a smaller company, I'm their client. I'm the client. If they fail, what happens? You fail. If I go to a big company, IBM, Microsoft, or anyone else, consulting,
Yeah.
if they fail my project,
Right.
so that alone is an experience that you're going to provide. Now, if you are delivering really well on your services, you will grow. Definitely, you will have more people that you're going to work with there. When they call you, do you answer your phone immediately? There's nothing there, right? Or do you even go and talk to them before they even call you? As a client before, the reason why a lot of these guys said the big companies sell so much, because every month, an account manager from Microsoft, from IBM, from Cisco, comes to me and talk to me, and we go out for lunch. I'm not saying I'm cheap to have lunch, but that's how they tell me about their products and their services. They're not going to sell me anything. But if I do have a requirement, you're first of mind. You're top of mind. Hey, these guys, maybe you can do something here. Right? It's the contact, the relationship. The problem with us, if our clients are remote, we only call them and invoice. Today. Hey. Right? When are you signing my new contract? Hey, you need more people. Why don't we add more people in yours? It's always our needs, not their need. If you do the reverse, that's why it's customer centric, right? How can I help you? What are your problems? Like the other, the one thing I was talking to you about, the customer production issue. It was not related to us. He just messaged me, can you join the call? Oh, of course, I will join the call. Whatever I can contribute. He's not even paying me for the time that I'm joining the call. Whatever I can contribute, I'm helping you solve the problem. Next time they have something that they need, I trust this guy because he's gonna go and help me figure out when things go wrong. It's not even my issue, it was somebody else's issue. It's like, okay. We all do that, right? Normally? It's their problem. We actually, it's their problem, it's their problem. So it's, again, who's going to buy from you? People. So what's the experience that they have with your company? Even if you're a service company. It doesn't even have to do technology, it's just basic common sense, basic business process that you have to do. Right? Or when you're invoicing them, you just invoice them properly. Don't over invoice. Change requests are so painful for me. Right? So, again.
So the majority of the case studies and strategies are talking about Amazon and
Large companies.
big guys. See, we are in SME industry in Coimbatore, okay? So we cannot follow those strategies and we cannot adopt anything from them. Their concept is totally different, our business concept is totally different.
Okay.
So it could be relevant to our industry, how SME can make digital transformation, it could be better. So, and other areas, see, we are using, almost many companies in the industry are using software, okay? So we are thinking that already we are digital, okay? We are using software. So what is the difference between our current stage, what we have to do, and what is our next stage? As you said, the digital transformation, what we have to do.
Okay.
So finding definition and the course is okay, but what is the practical thing, what is our next step?
So that's fair enough. When this big company started, how big are they? Microsoft started with 2 people. Facebook, this one guy. They all started small, right?
Correct, but practically, if you take 1 lakh business, one business may become like Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
So those were not examples, they are externals, I mean, exceptionals. So we cannot follow exceptionals.
Okay.
So one company or 2 companies may be exceptionals, they can do, the strategy may work out for them, they can do well. But what about the common industry, like if we have some simplified ideas to come forward with the digital transformation, it will be better for us.
So in that case, you don't even have to do digital transformation. This is not the solution if, again, you tailor fit it to what you really want to do. If you want to grow big, if you want to address a bigger market, if you want to be successful, they could be you or they could be your clients. A lot of smaller companies service these big companies. Okay? So you can look at it either you as the one transforming or you helping them do the transformation. So don't be scared if we're small. That's what I told you, right? If you find the right clients, if you just find the right person. This one was the perspective. I'd rather work with smaller companies. The problem is that figuring out who are those bigger companies that you want to work with, to start with, the contacts with. That's where network is important. The other thing is that the NASSCOM also did a panel with larger banks. They said, we prefer working actually with SMEs for their services because we know that we are going to be taken care of. So imagine if the way you're servicing them is like you are a big corporation in terms of the quality that you're providing, the communications that you're doing. That's your growth area. And you can stay the same. You can just do whatever you're doing now. There's nothing wrong. You survive for a long time. I'm not saying Eugene comes here, I have to do this one. No, you don't have to do this. But if you really want to take it to the next level, you have to do other stuff for you to grow. To go from 1 to 100, 150 people is easier. But from 150 to 500 to 1,000, you hit something there. You have to change. And the other things that you have to do. You have to do business management changing. You have to really learn how to manage business. If you look at founders of Google, they have to hire their own boss. Because they were not businessmen, they were technologists. They have to hire Eric Smith, who was running Google before, to help them grow their business. So don't belittle yourself, okay?
Other question. So earlier it was like our business like people-oriented business. So we find a lot of difficulties in the people-oriented business. Then it becomes people and process-oriented. And now it's completely process-oriented. So we cannot do anything with the people, majority of the cases. So that is why technology is coming and AI is coming. Everything is for automation, everything for process-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So as per your commands, before digital transformation, we have to make human transformation.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks a little contra. I'm not able to understand how to make human transformation.
The human transformation is you. Okay, I'm saying if you want to be able to serve better, you have to transform your organization in terms of how you want to deliver products and how to provide services. You can continue doing what you're doing now, okay? But if you want to offer a little bit more, something that is different, for you to be able to deliver that, you have a different set of people. Your people now is okay. There's nothing wrong with that one, right? You can grow and just provide whatever you provide now. Continue to do that. You'll have more customers. You're just helping on the processes side. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that one. I'm saying what you're doing now is wrong. I'm not saying what you're doing now is wrong. You can still continue doing that. But to really make a difference is to change customer experiences. Your customers now are companies, right? And you provide the same service as your other competitors. My question is, if I was the client, why would I choose you against his company? And his company? And his company? What's your differentiator? You provide the same thing. So that's it.
But the example, the case studies you have shown, some list of companies. So those companies are not connected with the people. It's connected with the process. Take Amazon. We don't know anybody in Amazon, but we are doing business with Amazon. So likewise, it's completely process oriented. So if you take any company, all top companies, Microsoft, we don't have people connection. So there is no influence of people.
Who are you selling to? Who are you selling to? Are you selling to a process?
No, we're selling to customers.
And your customers are? What? People, right?
That's correct.
So let me ask you this, why are your customers buying from you?
So basically, we have a differentiator, only then customer will buy our product.
Right? Or they just have no choice. Actually, it's better if the customer has no choice. Like, I need somebody who knows this. Right? example, when I was a customer before, I was looking for, I need to use this technology, I figured out, I need consultants on this technology. It was not so easy. I looked so hard. Where do I get it? Where did I find it? Ray Business Technology. I was a client of Ray Business Technologies before I moved to Ray Business Technology. And the reason why is that I was looking for a specific set of skills. I looked in the US, I looked in Europe, I used the internet and said, hey, this guy's can know how to do it.
So based on what you have answered in that, like I just wanted to share a thought. At one point of time, like he was asking you some question about whether it will become a surveyable problem for a company or it will become a sustainability issue for any company for it to stay long. Is the urgency felt in the market to digitally transform it, or how can it be measured? Like you were mentioning 50% of the companies are successful in transforming. So it is either head or tail situation. So is there an urgency to even survey today to transform digitally?
So we look at it two ways. One is that do you have to digitally transform, or are your clients need to digitally transform? Okay. You see the market wherein a lot of big companies want to digitally transform. If you want to have a piece of that market, then that's what you have to do. If you don't want a piece of that market, that's fine. Right? That's why I show you the market first. Now it's up to you. Why did you go? Why did you go into IoT? Why did you go into services? Because you know there's a market that you can serve. How you serve it is up to you. Now if you're serving it the same as everyone else, that's okay because the market is big enough. But if you go into a situation where you are competing with somebody, at the end of the day it's this price because you don't know most of the customers that you have. But if you have a brand, then you lose out because somebody who has a brand a little bit more expensive, and I go with them. I know it's hard. If you look at it, do I have to do this one? Why did you have him come here? Well, it gives you more problems than whatever it is, right? But you have to look at it. That's why you have to sit down. What is my strategy? How do I differentiate myself? Or do I stay the same? Are you in survival mode? No. Are you in growth mode? I don't know. Is your client in survival mode? Are they in growth mode? Are they in optimization mode? Companies will go through different. But the key thing is that if you have customers now, look out for those opportunities. Look out. Talk to them more. Don't be just stuck with whatever you have done and you're okay. Right? You look at them. You look at, okay, I see this one and then I see this other client. I see this other client. I see a gap. I need to